Asha and Mira were both very close friends. Since their college was on vacation, they had come to stay for a few days at Asha's grandmother's house in the village. At first, they liked the peaceful atmosphere of the village, but within a few days they began to feel bored. The idea of camping in the jungle was born on an ordinary evening, one of those nights when the world felt too small and routine pressed in from every side. Asha and Mira sat on the couch in the drawing room, watching a TV show. They had been best friends for as long as they could remember, bound together by scraped knees, shared secrets, and an unspoken promise to never let life make them boring. "Let's disappear for a while," Asha said suddenly, breaking the silence. Mira turned to her, eyes lighting up. She didn't ask where. She already knew. The jungle had always called to them, through old adventure books, late-night documentaries, and childhood dreams of fireflies and hidden trails. A place where phones lost their signal and instincts took over. When Asha's grandmother came to know about this, she explained to both of them that the forest was extremely dense and like a maze. Even the villagers avoided going into that forest. Grandmother said that about 10 years earlier, a terrifying flood had struck the river in that forest, and ever since then, no one has dared to go there, but they ignored her advice. By the end of the night, the plan was set. A tent borrowed from a cousin, a rucksack filled with half-useful gear, instant noodles, and a shaky map downloaded from the internet. They laughed at their own lack of preparation, confident that friendship and courage would be enough. The next morning, as soon as dawn broke, both friends set out toward the dense forest with backpacks slung over their shoulders. Their hearts were filled with excitement and adventure. A gentle chill lingered in the morning air. From the very edge of the forest, thick trees and plants appeared entwined with one another, as if someone had draped a blanket of greenery over the land. There was a mysterious stillness all around, yet the atmosphere felt incredibly captivating. The excitement was clearly visible on Asha and Mira's faces. Laughing and chatting, they moved ahead as if this were not a dangerous forest at all, but a simple picnic. Everything was so beautiful that, lost in conversation, they didn't even realize how far they had gone. As they talked, their excitement about jungle camping grew so much that they completely lost track of time. Laughing, discovering new sights, they kept moving forward. Gradually, the sun began to set. The light started to fade, and the forest's greenery turned into deep shadows. The sounds of birds began to fall silent, replaced by a strange quiet. Just then, Mira stopped and said, "Asha, do you feel like we've gone too far?" Mira asked. Asha checked her phone and then the map. Her face suddenly turned pale. The place where they were standing didn't exist anywhere on the map. That's when both of them realized they were lost. As the night grew deeper, the forest began to feel even more terrifying. In the darkness, the shadows of the trees looked like unfamiliar shapes. From somewhere far away came the rustling of leaves and the sound of some animal. Fear slowly began to settle into their hearts. Holding each other's hands, the two girls now placed every step with extreme caution. The night kept growing darker, and with it, their fear. Both of them now understood the situation. The fear was no longer just in their eyes. It had sunk deep into their hearts. Mira couldn't hold herself together anymore and burst into tears. The dark night, the dense forest all around, and the realization that they had lost the path. Everything was breaking her down. Tears filled Asha's eyes as well, but she steadied herself. Taking a deep breath, she held Mira's hand and said, "Mira, crying like this won't make the trouble go away. If we give in to fear, we'll truly be trapped. We have to do something to get out of this situation." But Mira was far too frightened. The different sounds coming from deep inside the jungle, sometimes a roar, sometimes the sharp rustling of leaves, only made her fear grow stronger. With every sound, she felt as if someone was watching them or moving toward them. In a trembling voice, she said, "Asha, I'm really scared. What if something happens to us here?" Asha pulled her close and replied in a soft yet firm voice, "Look, Mira, being afraid won't help us. If we stay calm and think clearly, we'll find a way. We're together." Asha's words slowly began to have an effect on Mira. She wiped her tears and tried to steady herself. She was starting to understand that not fear, but courage would show them the way. The forest was still just as frightening, but now, a small light of courage had been lit in their hearts. The night had grown completely dark. The moon was hidden behind clouds, and the forest was filled with nothing but darkness and strange sounds. Just then, Asha's eyes fell on the ground. There were strange footprints there. Footprints. They looked neither like an animal's nor a human's. The footprints were leading deeper into the forest, toward the flickering light of a fire. Mira, do you see these footprints? Mira's face filled with fear once again. See, could that shadow be the one that left these marks? Following the footprints, they moved forward slowly. A little distance ahead, between the trees, they saw something, an old, broken-down hut. The wood of the hut was rotten, the door was half open, and a strange coldness was coming from inside. Felt as if no one had been there for years. Mira whispered, "Should we go inside?" Asha studied the hut carefully. Staying outside isn't safe either. This might be the only place we can spend the night. The light of the fire was fading behind them. Darkness was closing in ahead, and the hut's door slowly opened a little more on its own. The door of the hut creaked and opened completely. Asha and Mira's breaths seemed to stop. Cot, cot. Sound began to come from inside, as if someone was walking slowly. Mira whispered in terror, "Asha, there's someone inside." Gathering their courage, both of them took a step inside. The hut was dark, with only a faint beam of moonlight filtering through the broken roof. Then suddenly, "Who's there?" A heavy, tired voice echoed. Mira was about to scream when Asha quickly covered her mouth. From the darkness emerged a mysterious figure, bust in silhouette. His clothes were torn, his hair was disheveled, and there was a strange gleam in his eyes. He wasn't an animal, but he didn't look entirely human either. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I, too, was once trying to find my way out of this forest." Asha looked around, and then her eyes fell on the walls. There were terrifying red marks painted across them. Drop of blood. Some looked like handprints, others like strange shapes, as if someone had clawed at the walls in fear. Mira's body began to tremble. Whose marks are these? The man took a deep breath. Those who lose their way here, many of them never make it back. Somehow the night passed in that hut. At every small sound, both of them would startle. Outside, the frightening noises of the forest continued without pause. Then slowly, morning arrived. Sunrise. When the first rays of sunlight fell into the forest, everything began to look a little clearer. Asha and Mira stepped outside. What they saw revealed the truth. Near the hut were traces of an old path, a broken signboard, and a few rusted markers. This forest had once been a route for tourists, but years ago, after an accident, it had been closed. The mysterious shadow was not a creature. He was an old guide who had been trapped in the same accident and had made the forest his home. He showed them the right path. A few hours later, Asha and Mira finally made it out of the forest. Fear, tears, and courage. This jungle had taught them one lesson. No matter how frightening the trouble may be, the courage stays with you. A way will always be found.